How we doing, everybody? UFC Thoughts here, and today I'm going to be going over my picks and breakdown for every fight on UFC Vegas 111, Bonfim vs. Brown on November 8th, 2025. Timestamps in the comments below. Let's get right into it with the first fight of 12. We start with Jackson McVey versus Zachary Reese. Catch weight. I'll pick Zachary Reese, even though this is pretty short notice for him. He fought not too long ago in September, so it's not like he's like crazy out of shape. Like he was in a camp not too long ago. Had basically a nothing burger of a fight with Cedric Dumas. My big thing is Jackson McVey isn't that great on the feet. He's mostly a grappler. And I feel like you have to be more than just a grappler to beat Zachary Reese. You know what I mean? At least, like, somewhat mid-level striking. Like, Jackson McVey, he's getting subbed by, like, Bruno Ferreira, and I don't want to be, like, that guy. But if you're getting subbed by Bruno Ferreira, I think Zachary Reese can probably submit you or TKO you. Jackson McVey, in my personal opinion, has shown me literally nothing to, like, credit him for, at least at, like, a high level in MMA. Did basically nothing but get a takedown against Bruno Ferreira, and they didn't even credit him with the takedown. I'm pretty sure they credited nobody with the takedown because he shot a takedown and it got, like, stuffed. But he, like, got reversed almost immediately or something. I don't know. If you're getting subbed by 5'10" Bruno Ferreira, 6'4" Zachary Reese, who does hit really hard, should beat you. Now, I am a little worried if Zachary Reese lets this get out of the first round. It might get a little ugly because Zachary Reese already doesn't have the best gas tank, and him on short notice is probably going to be, like, dying of exhaustion in the second round. But I think he finishes McVey in the first. So I'll go Zachary Reese by first round submission. We move to Miles Johns versus Daniel Marcos. I'm going to pick Daniel Marcos. I thought about a sneaky Miles Johns underdog pick because I forgot that I was like, oh, wait, this is short notice. But it's not really that short notice for Daniel Marcos. He was supposed to be fighting in Qatar against Felipe Lima. And Miles Johns was supposed to fight last weekend against Muin Gafurov. Both Gafurov and Felipe pulled out. They mismatched these guys together a week after Miles was supposed to fight, 2 weeks before Daniel was. Stylistically, it is interesting because my big worry and why I was going to pick Miles Johns originally, because I was like, oh, wait, this is short notice. Daniel does slow down, but I feel like on the feet, all you really need against Miles Johns to do well is, like, decent technique. That's really it. You don't even need a whole lot of volume. Just decent technique will work. We saw that really well in the Felipe Lima fight with Miles Johns. Felipe didn't even have the craziest output. He genuinely was just, like, throwing better punches at Miles Johns and making Miles Johns whiff. And that's something Daniel Marcos can do for at least 2 rounds. I know he can do that for at least 2. Miles can put on a bit of a pace, but he kind of slows down himself. He's not like a Merab kind of shoe-in where it's like, yeah, he can go 3 hard rounds. He does slow down because he just throws big ol' overhands and shoots, blast double legs. And I am worried that maybe Daniel will low IQ his way to lose a fight because he'll try and out-grapple Miles Johns, which ended up making him lose against Montel Jackson. But this isn't a fight where he's going to be dealing with a huge reach disadvantage and a size disadvantage against a guy like Montel Jackson, who also does hit really hard, who is a sniper. He's going to be against a way less technical striker in Miles Johns, who's maybe a bit of a better wrestler than Montel Jackson. That's about it. Daniel, he's got really solid straight down the pipe shots, really good jab, really good 1-2 on him. He's got that really unorthodox power. You'll see that in his fights where he'll hit John Castaneda and he'll just go down. He knows how to win a decision too, is like the thing. Has a couple split decisions. Davey Grant, Adrian Yanez, both really close fights. But it seems like whenever people fight Daniel Marcos, their IQ just drops significantly. I don't know if you noticed that. Like Max, yeah, like fucking Adrian Yanez could have won that fight. He just decided not to, I guess. I don't know what that was about. Montel Jackson fought a really bad fight against him. Daniel's just kind of weird to go up against. So I'll pick Daniel Marcos by decision over Miles Johns. It's just like short notice slop fest, kind of in a way. We move to Tecia Pennington versus Denise Gomes. I'm going to pick Denise Gomes over Tecia Pennington. She's significantly younger than Tecia Pennington. Tecia hasn't really given me or anybody a viewing experience in the UFC, like anything that crazy as of recent. She did beat Luana Pinheiro in her last fight. Had a really close fight with Carla Esparza at 307. Outside of that, hasn't really done much, honestly. She's really she's good, but I feel like Denise Gomes is just a younger version of her. I gotta go with the younger version of the 36-year-old pocket boxer, right? Like, that's who also hits really hard. Like, I have to pick Denise Gomes here. There's no way that I don't pick her here. And Denise Gomes, for a WMMA fighter, has been like consistently finding finishes in the UFC. Of her 5 wins, 3 are by KO. I like that. The only girls that she wasn't able to finish, Karolina Kowalkiewicz, who, albeit did just get finished by, who did she just fight? Not Luciano. It was, the psycho lady. What's her name? Julia Pilastri. She did just get finished, but Karolina's always been pretty durable. And Eduarda Moira, who is basically like a bantamweight down at strawweight. She's durable as fuck. Ticia's pretty durable as well. I think she's just going to eat a lot more shots. She's dealing with a reach disadvantage that's been plaguing her whole career. I don't think she's going to be able to out-grapple Denise Gomes. I don't think that's going to happen. Like, Denise Gomes' only losses in the UFC as of recent have been Angela Hill and Loma Lookboonmee, who are both pretty solid, unranked WMMA fight. Well, Angela's ranked, but you get the point. Denise Gomes is just a younger version of Tecia Pennington. Both work their best work in the pocket. Just good old hook spamming. But I feel like Denise Gomes not only hits harder, but is faster. And honestly, maybe not better technique, but like more sharp. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's because she's younger, it just looks better. Tecia Pennington, she's kind of like robotic now in a way. I'll say that a lot about a lot of fighters where they look like they're rustic, like they're like it's like UFC 5 like striking, like it's really like robotic, like it looks really weird. Denise Gomes, I think, will have this one in the bag. Smaller cage. Denise Gomes is going to be a lot of exchanges. I think Denise Gomes is going to land better and land more. So I'll go Denise Gomes over Tecia Pennington. We move to Josh Hokit versus Max Gimenis. I'm going to pick Josh over Max Gimenis. It is very interesting. If you don't know who Max Gimenis is, he's just a really good BJJ black belt at heavyweight. He's just like a really good guy at BJJ. He's been grappling for fucking ages. He's grappled, like Victor Hugo. He's grappled with Muhammad Ali. A shit ton of really high-level guys. I mean, if you go to his Tapology page, he's been grappling professionally in BJJ since 2013. He has a win over Dylan Danis. That's pretty good. He's been grappling with some, like, insane grapplers, though. Just like you look through his resume, it's a shit ton of well-known names in the BJJ scene. I'm not even, like, into, like, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu like that. I know some of the names on his fucking resume. He's got some pretty solid names. The issue is, I think Max outside of his BJJ is pretty dog shit, honestly. And I really doubt that he's going to be able to find takedowns against Josh Hokit, who is a wrestler. And I think this is going to be more of a stand-up fight. And Max Gimenis has been KO'd before by a bum. By a legit bum. Like a bad fighter. Like a not a good fighter. Max has never been out of the first round. Josh Hokit has. He's been out of the first round twice. He got a finish in both of those fights as well. Got a TKO in the second round on the Contender Series against, albeit a whale, in Guillermo Uriel. And then he got a sub against in his debut against Spencer Smith. I just feel like Josh Hokit has faced better people on the regional scene as well. Everybody Max Gimenis has fought has been dog shit, negative records, 7-8, 6-14, 1-4. The guy that he lost to was 2-4 when he fought him, and he lost to him by first round KO. I hope that Josh Hokit is smart and doesn't try to wrestle a shit ton, because that'll lead to Max maybe finding reversals or a submission off his back, just because that's how good he is at BJJ. I feel like if Josh is able to keep this standing a little bit, maybe tire out Max with some techniques that he's not used to throwing for long periods of time, like stand-up, like boxing, like kickboxing. If he keeps him on the feet a little bit, he'll slow down. Maybe the takedowns come a bit easier. But I think that Josh Hokit will find a finish over Max Gimenis in the second round by TKO. They kind of look exactly like each other, to be honest. Like it's like mirror matchup. Fat. Like... They're basically the same person. I will favor Josh Hokit, though, in this matchup. We move to Mayra Bueno Silva versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. I will pick Jacqueline Cavalcanti over Mayra Bueno Silva. Mayra has just really looked like dog shit recently, and I don't like it. She's looked pretty bad. She hasn't gotten a win since 2023 in February. I know you're going to say, didn't she sub Holly Holm? She actually popped for steroids in that fight. So no, she doesn't have a win over Holly Holm anymore. That's actually been reverted to a no contest. Obviously, Mayra Bueno Silva, kind of a marauder, man. But she doesn't move her head at all. She gasses out extremely quick. Almost to the point where it's like, this chick fought for a belt. And you watch that fight back and you're like, holy shit, she's literally like, she's giving up. You're giving up. You're giving up. Jacqueline Cavalcanti, while she hasn't fought the most high-level opposition in the UFC like Mayra Bueno Silva has, like, that's what Mayra Bueno has in this matchup, is just sheer, like, resume of people she's actually fought. But she's lost to a lot of the really good people that she's fought. Jacqueline Cavalcanti hasn't lost a fight since 2022, which that sounds very recent. She began her career in 2021, basically. She had a fight in 2018, but she took 3 years off. You know, on the regional scene, she beats Melissa Croden, which we saw how good Melissa Croden is, in a 5-round main event. She went the decision there. She's beaten Sarah Farron, Josiane Nunes, Nora Cornell, and Julia Avila. I know, like, Julia Avila and Sarah Farron aren't really that good, but Nora Cornell and Josiane Nunes are not that bad. I feel like Nora Cornell is kind of similar in the way that they fight, like Mayra Bueno Silva, but just not good jiu-jitsu at all. Nora Cornell is like, she's very in your face all the time. Jacqueline has such a presence against ladies in this division because she's so big for the division. She's 5'8" with a 70-inch reach. She's very technical on the feet. She has great cardio. She has good takedown defense. I don't think this is a fight that Mayra Bueno Silva can just like out-muscle Jacqueline against the cage in the clinch. I feel like she's going to get her head pinged back by straight down the pipe shots, and she bleeds very easily. Got a lot of scar tissue. You remember the cut by Mayra Chasson on her face. She's just been getting big dogged in a lot of her recent fights. Raquel Pennington, I think she dropped maybe the first round to Mayra Bueno Silva. After that, Mayra literally didn't try to fight back. Mayra Chasson, she had some good moments on the feet there, but that's because Mayra kind of doesn't, she's kind of chin in the air a little bit. And we've seen Macy Chasson maybe isn't what we thought she was because she beat Mayra Bueno Silva. And Jasmine Jasudavicius literally beat the dog shit out of her. All great fighters. I think Jacqueline Cavalcanti is a very young prospect at flyweight. She's very big for the division. She's pretty good. She's pretty well-rounded at that as well. So I'll go Jacqueline Cavalcanti over Mayra Bueno Silva via decision. Lock it in. We move to Ricky Simón versus Raoni Barcelos. I'm going to pick Raoni Barcelos as an underdog here. If Raoni Barcelos has shown me that he's won as an underdog twice in a row, by the way. Actually, he was a favorite against Cody Garbrandt, wasn't he? Yeah, he was. He has shown great, skills as of recent. Beat Peyton Talbot. Ricky Simón, in my opinion, I was not a huge fan of the Cameron Smotherman performance. And I thought he lost the third round to Cameron Smotherman because he started to slow down. And Ricky Simón, I know he's on a bit of a resurgence. You know what I mean? He's won, 2 in a row now, knocked out Javid Basharat bad. If you look back at that fight, Ricky Simón literally did nothing outside of knock him out. I don't know, it's like, oh, really? Well, he did nothing but not. If you look back at that, Javid was clearly, outpointing Ricky Simón, and then Ricky absolutely blasted him with a right hook, or a right straight. Raoni Barcelos has just shown a massive ability as of recent, especially to just outdo somebody across 3 rounds. And Ricky Simón, let's not forget, was on a huge losing streak for a little bit there. 3 in a row? Song Yadong, great fighter. Mario Batista, great fighter. Vinicius Oliveira, great fighter. The issue is that Raoni Barcelos is so slept on because he got knocked out by Umar Nurmagomedov. And people really remember the Victor Henry performance for some reason, even though it was 3 or 4 years ago. Ricky is pretty good wrestler. He's pretty well-rounded as well. I feel like he's taken a step back in ability, though, especially with his pace. His pace and pressure used to be his best thing. I feel like in the Cameron Smotherman performance, he almost did too much early on and gassed himself out a little bit to where he was just holding Cameron Smotherman against the fence. There is legit no way he's going to be able to do that against Raoni Barcelos, who is, I think he's going to put on a bit of a clinic here on Ricky Simón, especially in the grappling. I think that's going to be something to look out for in this fight, possibly, is the grappling of Raoni Barcelos against Ricky Simón. Because Ricky Simón is a much more, he looks like a more visible wrestler. He's a short build, stocky, muscly, wide. Raoni's a coral belt. He's a coral belt, man. I feel like Raoni has just shown me more as of recent in his recent performances. You know what I mean? Raoni hasn't lost in, quite a bit. His last loss was Kyler Phillips, which, isn't great in retrospect. Kyler Phillips isn't really all that great. But that was before Kyler Phillips kind of started sucking a little bit. That was before the Rob Font fight. That was Kyler Phillips, the fight right before Pedro Munoz at 299, where everyone was like, holy shit, he's back. This guy, he's finally coming to his own. And then prior to that, Umar Nurmagomedov, what are you going to do about that? He's got wins over Said Nurmagomedov and Chris Gutierrez. I know I'm digging far back in the history books, 2019, 2018. He's out-grappling those guys. And I know Chris Gutierrez gets out-grappled quite a bit, and I know Said Nurmagomedov isn't the greatest grappler in his own right, and he gasses out as well. Raoni's not bad on the feet either. He hits pretty hard, and he's got really good pressure. He's got that mild pressure where he's so far out you can't throw, but you're against the cage, and that's a good visual for him. I'm going to pick Raoni Barcelos over Ricky Simón via decision. I think he's going to win, out-grapple Ricky Simón, out-cardio him across the distance. And I think this is going to be another performance where you're like, damn, is Raoni Barcelos low-key a dark horse? But he's not because he's so old. But, yeah, I'm picking Raoni Barcelos over Ricky Simón. This is the underdog pick of the card. We move to Hyder Amil versus Jamall Emmers. I'm picking Hyder Amil, even though it's short notice for him. Jamall Emmers, I like him because one of my favorite factoids is this dude has a win over Corey Sandhagen, which for some reason just doesn't really make any sense. I know it was on the regional scene, and I know it was a huge amount of time ago. But still, that's just something that's like kind of funny. Dude, this guy beat Corey Sandhagen once upon a time. And his only losses, if you really look at it, are to like pretty solid fighters. I thought he looked really sloppy against Gabriel Miranda, and if he fights like that in any capacity against Hyder Amil, I think he's going to get fucking slept unconscious bad. Because against Gabriel Miranda, Jamall had literally no respect. And that's the thing, is like, as of recent, Jamall Emmers used to be kind of a pick shot kind of guy who kind of uses his cardio as the fight goes on, kind of goes slow off the bat, and then kind of picks up his pace as the fight goes on. You look at a fight like, what was it, Hussein Ashkabov or whatever, the guy that was like undefeated, that he beat, that ended up being a fucking criminal, by the way. The guy was like 23-0, and Jamall Emmers beat him as like a plus something underdog or whatever. If he goes out there guns a-blazing against Hyder Amil, we're going to see a very similar performance to Hyder Amil versus Jung Young Lee. Because Hyder Amil will force you to fight like a moron. That's like his whole thing, is trying to force you to fight like an idiot. I don't like Jamall Emmers. He doesn't have that one-punch KO power, in my opinion. I don't think he does. A lot of, like, he's got a couple knockouts on his resume that kind of look like that. The Dennis Bajuka one at 295, which, by the way, I predicted perfectly if you look back at that video. I said 1-2 down the pipe KO in the first round. Anyways. Like, it looks like he has KO power. That was like a perfect shot. Hyder Amil is a moron who doesn't move his head and is coming off a vicious KO against Jose Miguel Delgado. Jamall doesn't have those weapons that Jose has, those elbows, those knees up the middle, you know what I mean? He doesn't have those necessarily. A lot of Jamall Emmers is kickboxing and boxing combinations. And I feel like when Hyder goes up against guys like that, even though he has been hurt in fights prior, you look at his debut against Fernie Garcia, he got dropped hard in that first round. Anyways, Hyder does have a win over William Gomes, who in my opinion is a way better fighter than Jamall Emmers. Not way better, but better than Jamall Emmers. Jamall, he just kind of, his style plays perfectly into what Hyder Amil wants you to do. You know what I mean? Like, what Hyder Amil wants you to do is what Jamall Emmers will do. He'll start off, from what we've seen at least, Jamall Emmers as of recent has just been guns blazing in his most recent fights. In the first round, kind of teeing off on people. Nate Landwehr, he beat the shit out of him for a little bit, and then he got, TKO'd. And that's my thing, is like Nate Landwehr. I know Nate Landwehr hits kind of hard. He doesn't hit nearly as hard as Hyder Amil. And Hyder Amil puts them together, too. That's the thing. If he has you hurt, it is very rare that if Hyder Amil has you hurt, he won't find a finish. I like that a lot. Hyder Amil has way more finishing potential than Jamall Emmers in this matchup. And I think Jamall Emmers will play into Hyder Amil's game. I'm picking Hyder Amil by TKO in the first round. Lock it in. We move to the start of the main card. Christian Leroy Duncan versus Marco Tulio. I'm going to pick CLD over Marco Tulio. This is a very interesting matchup. But I think it really just comes down to the size here. Marco Tulio is very good. Do not get me wrong. He is a stellar athlete, really potent striker, underrated grappling if you look back at the Yusri Belgari performance. But I feel like on the feet, the thing that CLD struggles with the most are tall strikers. Those are the guys that'll really give CLD problems, are taller than him strikers. Like Gregory Rodriguez, who did in fact mix in grappling there, but I think CLD has made the correct adjustments since then. And then Armen Petrosian, which by the way is not a good look. I don't like that CLD lost to Armen Petrosian. But again, Armen is 6'3", and also not that bad of a striker. If you look back at the Magomedov performance, with Armen Petrosian, Armen was in there with Shara for like the entire fight until the double spinning back fist. CLD and Tulio, both, I think that CLD just has more dangerous weapons. And I don't like, and here's the thing, both of them don't have good resumes. That's like the reason why this fight is so hard to predict. Because CLD, even though he's 5-2 in the UFC, he literally has not a single good win on his resume. Like, Dusko Todorovic is terrible, Denis Tululin is terrible, Claudio Ribeiro is terrible, Eric Anders is not that good, and neither is Andre Pulayev. But Marco Tulio has, his 2 wins are against Tresean Gore, who just got outstruck by Rodolfo Vieira, and Ihor Potieria, who literally has like 2 wins in the UFC, one of which is like 49-year-old, not 49-year-old, but like old-ass Shogun Rua. I think on the feet, it'll be competitive, but I think CLD will land the harder shots. Just because, and that's another thing going into this matchup, is just the unorthodox nature of CLD is a weird one to deal with, because he's always, like, he's like MVP maxing, but he's not like 30 feet away from people when he's doing it. He's like in your face. He's like Yuri in a way, where he's like bobbing up and down. You don't know if he's going to throw a flying knee or spinning elbow. And I feel like this is just like a little bit too much of an step up in comp for Marco Tulio, like this quick into his career. CLD's probably like close to rankings. Like, he's not that far off. His only loss, like his last loss, was to RoboCop. That's not bad. You know, like RoboCop is really fucking good. And huge for the division. Marco is kind of undersized, in my opinion, for like the top level of middleweight. He's kind of undersized, and I don't like that a lot. But I say that, but a guy like Azamat Murzakanov isn't like in the top 7. But that's at light heavyweight. That's besides the point. Christian's pretty good. I like CLD. I think this is a fight that'll show that he's maybe better than people think, because he has been a bit of a can crusher thus far in his career, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I do think this is too much of an upscale and comp for Marco Tulio, especially like going from Ihor and Tresean Gore, who are not good and chinny, to a guy like Christian Leroy Duncan, who's pretty durable, very unorthodox on the feet, has really potent weapons like knees, like elbows, hits really hard, really athletic, pretty good grappler in his own right, and can defend some takedowns. I think this is a perfect matchup for CLD, in my opinion. I think he's going to show some levels, and it's a small octagon, too, so it's not like Christian's going to be having to run across the cage to get to the guy. They're big boys. CLD's bigger, and he does really well against guys smaller than him. So I'll go Christian Leroy Duncan over Marco Tulio. We move to Chris Padilla versus Ismael Bonfim. I'm going to pick Chris Padilla over Ismael Bonfim yet again as an underdog. I feel like Chris Padilla has been an underdog in every one of his UFC fights. I don't know when the bookies are going to get this right. I don't think they ever will, to be honest, because once Chris Padilla loses, it's going to be a fight that he's a favorite in. Chris Padilla is such a weird fighter, because it's like he reminds me a lot of like Steve Garcia in a way, where it's like he just wins. Like, he just keeps on winning. You know what I mean? Like, James Yontop, you know, just kind of found a sub. Rong Zhu, very close fight, gets a wild-ass elbow. Jai Herbert kind of just points it, like, gets a way to outpoint Jai Herbert. Ismael Bonfim, I just, like, Vink Pichel, and, like, Terrence McKinney's a good win. But it's one of those things where, like, Terrence McKinney, he's such a 50-50 fighter that I can't really, like, put a whole lot into that performance when he's also lost to Nazim Salikhov and Benoit Saint-Denis. Like, the step ups in the competition for Ismael Bonfim outside of Terrence McKinney, he has been completely outclassed. Like, completely outclassed. Even though Nazim Salikhov, he was winning until the question mark kick. Chris Padilla is a hard guy to fight just because he's got a weird build. He's weirdly tall for his build. He's got long legs, but a short torso and long arms. So it's really hard to, like, get through the guard of Chris Padilla because he's got one of those frog-like build, like Myron Santos, where, like, his torso is so short that his arms are long. He can block body shots and his head at the same time. It's without, like, hunching over. You know what I mean? Where, like, boxers hunch over and they roll. He literally just stands straight up. elbows at his navel and his fucking hands by his nose. Like, it's so hard to get through Chris Padilla because he's so defensively sound. But he's also such a good point fighter. That's the thing. And Ismael Bonfim will rush into things. Chris Padilla is, like, unorthodoxly good. It's just like he knows how to win fights. And Ismael Bonfim hasn't fought in a while. Neither is Chris Padilla, to be fair. They're coming off pretty similar schedules. Ismael in, February was his last fight, I believe, against Nazim. Yeah, it was February. It was on that Cannoneer RoboCop card. Chris Padilla last fought in London on that Edwards versus Brady card. I think Ismael he rushes too much. That Chris Padilla, if guys like, Benoit are able to time takedowns on Ismael Bonfim on him rushing, if Nazim Salikhov is able to, time a question mark kick on Ismael Bonfim kind of coming in, pause. Chris Padilla, who I've seen catch people coming in, pause, like Rongju, who's a huge lightweight. Like, he's not, crazy tall, but he's really, dense for the division. Catches him with an elbow coming in. I feel like Chris Padilla can catch Ismael Bonfim and crack him. I'm using a lot of weird terms here. I think Chris Padilla can land something on Ismael Bonfim when he is rushing in, like an elbow or a hook, something along those lines, or time a takedown like he did against James Yontop. Chris is weirdly good. He's got really good elbows in close. He's got decent boxing combinations. He times takedowns pretty well. And Ismael Bonfim just seemingly makes mistakes. And I will use that against him. He hasn't shown a whole lot in his career outside of the flying knee against Terrence McKinney. That's about it. Like, the Vink Pichel performance was good, but it was kind of a nothing burger because, it's Vink Pichel. That's not that crazy. Like, Chris Padilla, I think, could maybe finish Vink Pichel. Maybe that's a crazy take. Vink's pretty fucking tough. But I think Chris Padilla would do better against Benoit Saint-Denis than Ismael did. I think he'd do better against Nazim Salikhov. Chris Padilla, I think, is actually pretty underrated. So, I'll go Chris Padilla over Ismael Bonfim by TKO. We move to the featured fight. Muslim Salikhov versus Uroš Medić. Dude, a Muslim Salikhov pick is like the Green Goblin mask to me right now. Because it's dude, he's just been winning. I'm going to pick Uroš Medić over him, though. I feel like the last time we saw Muslim Salikhov fight a tall, rangy striker, he got chinned for it. If you don't know, that was Randy Brown. He's gone on a win streak, to be fair. Santiago Ponzinibbio, Son Canan, Carlos Leal. The Carlos Leal win is such an anomaly because it literally makes no sense at all. It doesn't make any sense that he's the guy that knocks out Carlos Leal. Uroš Medić, and to be fair, if he knocks out Carlos Leal, MMA math-wise, he should knock out a chinny Uroš Medić. Uroš doesn't rush in, though. That's the problem. You have to, catch Uroš Medić. You have to, rush in to catch him. Muslim's not much of a rusher. He's more of he'll stand back, wait for you to throw something, counter you heavily. Or he'll sit at range, kind of kick battle with you, throw a spinning wheel kick, maybe throw a couple jabs down the middle. I don't know if Muslim Salikhov will commit enough to his shots moving forward to find the shot that will chin Uroš Medić. You look at Gilbert Urbina, he literally just threw everything into that right hand. You look at Punahele Soriano, literally threw his entire body into the left hook that he caught Uroš Medić with. But Uroš he's got good recovery though. That's the thing. He can recover pretty well. And once he starts going, it's really hard for you to stop him. And Uroš against these really old guys, man, it's really hard for him to lose. All I can think about is Tim Means, him uppercutting the shit out of him. Because Uroš is nasty, man. He's so nasty at kickboxing. And Muslim Salikhov is old as shit. That's the problem, is he's so fucking old, but he just keeps fucking winning. I'll go Uroš. I think he's durable enough to maybe withstand Muslim Salikhov, and I don't think Muslim's style is the type of style that's that catches Uroš Medić off guard and drops him. You gotta throw everything into a punch while moving forward to drop him, in my opinion. Like, I think that's, like, what you need to do. Like, he was beating Muktabek Oralbay's ass. Which is kind of weird thinking about Muktabek's going to be fighting Jack Hermanson soon. That's crazy. But Uroš Medić, I feel like he's just, like, he's got something to him. Like, Muslim Salikhov is good. But it's just, like, he's going to be the Anthony Hernandez. I refuse to pick him ever. I will never pick. It would take Muslim Salikhov to fight literally fucking, who's a really, like, Nico Price for me to pick Muslim Salikhov. So, I'll pick Uroš Medić. We move to Matt Schnell versus Joseph Morales. Co-main event. Okay. Joseph Morales is who I'm going to pick over Matt Schnell. Joseph really impressed me against Alibi Idris. Matt Schnell's chinny. The worst chin pound for pound, like, maybe in UFC history. That's kind of crazy as a flyweight as well. Joseph's pretty good. He looked decent on the show as well. Had a really good finish over Eduardo Chapolin. Had a very close fight with Imanol Rodriguez, but as we've seen, Imanol Rodriguez is really fucking good. And maybe that was like, because the show is filmed like in like 6 weeks or so. I mean, is it 6 weeks? I feel like it may be even shorter than that. So maybe it was just like the weight cut getting to Joseph Morales having 2 really hard weight cuts back to back. Joseph looked really impressive against Alibi Idris. Matt Schnell looked like, honestly, like almost lost to Jimmy Flick, which I hate that. Like, that's like the worst look you can have as like a former ranked flyweight, is almost losing to Jimmy Flick. Don't do that if you're going to fight a guy like Joseph Morales, who's a very good grappler, and Jimmy Flick was kind of out-grappling Matt Schnell. I think Joseph might be able to sub Matt Schnell if he doesn't knock him out, because Joseph doesn't really hit all that hard, in my opinion, but he's got some decent combinations on the feet. Like, Matt Schnell isn't that bad. It's just, like, physically, he crumbles in fights, so I'll pick Joseph Morales over the chinniest athlete of all time, Matt Schnell. We move to the main event. Jesus fucking Christ. Gabriel Bonfim versus Randy Rude Boy Brown. I'm going to pick Randy Brown as an underdog against Gabriel Bonfim. I got quite a couple on this card. Like, this matchup is so fucking dumb because it was originally going to be 3. I feel like in a 5-round main event, I've seen Gabriel Bonfim literally die. To be fair, that was a long time ago, and since then, he's actually had pretty good cardio. My big thing is he going to be able to stall for 2 extra rounds? You know what I mean? Is he going to be able to do that again? I don't think so. And Randy Brown is a striker that, like, really forces you, at least unless you, like, provoke him like Nicholas Dalby did, where it kind of got really scrappy at a point. Randy Brown's he's a sniper. He will snipe the fuck out of you. And my big issue in this fight is going to be the range for Gabriel Bonfim. Because what Gabriel Bonfim needs is a guy to run at him. Like, kind of pressure him enough to where Gabriel's kind of running backwards, and then on an offbeat, he just double legs you. That's like what he needs to get takedowns. And Randy Brown's pretty solid at defending takedowns. The big issue is his chin, but I don't think Gabriel Bonfim hits that hard. You really look at the guys that are dropping Randy Brown, as of recent at least. Like, you look at the guys that are hurting him. Eliseo Zaleski dos Santos hits extremely hard. Nicholas Dalby did drop him. That was kind of just like a fluke. No, I'm joking. You know, like, Jack Della Maddalena, we know how hard Jack hits. Chaos Williams, I know comparing the 2 performances, like Gabriel Bonfim finished him. Chaos does hit hard, and it's not like Randy Brown's a great, like, offensive grappler. He's decent defensive grappling-wise, but Randy Brown still won that fight. Vicente Luque hits extremely hard. Nico Price, that one's kind of interesting, but that was also a long time ago. Like, Randy Brown has been in the UFC for so long, you know. Like, he's been here for a while. He's been here for almost a decade now. He's got a lot of experience. He's fought a lot of credentialed guys. He's not, like, that crazy old either. like Gabriel Bonfim against Wonderboy had some moments on the feet, but it's like I don't think that's going to be enough against Randy Brown, who is younger than Wonderboy is and is a better like boxer than Wonderboy. Wonderboy obviously has great kicks, has really good kicks. Randy Brown's more of he has pretty solid leg kicks. He throws like teeps up the middle as well just because he's got really long legs. Like head kicks are really not going to be coming from Randy Brown. It's a lot of up the middle, teep to the body, front kick, leg kick. He'll bring it upstairs maybe against Gabriel Bonfim because he saw how that worked against Wonderboy. I don't think Gabriel's going to be able to get this to the ground enough. And even if he does, Randy Brown's decent at like defending submissions when he's like there. Like, you know, like he's not like hurt. Like Jack Della obviously dropped him like square on his face and jumped on a rear naked. I don't think Gabriel's going to be able to do that. I think Randy's going to keep this fight standing. It really depends on who's on the front foot. If Gabriel just kind of rushes at Randy Brown, I think he's going to get clipped really fucking hard with something. If Randy Brown's on the front foot, I think this is a very easy fight for him. I think Randy's got better cardio. Maybe not he did gas out against Brian Battle, to be fair. He did slow down in that fight, but this is like he's been training for 5 rounds for this fight. He has to be taking this extremely seriously. Like, this is his first, like, main event. I think this is, like, I don't know how Gabriel's going to look in a 5-round fight, you know what I mean? I'm picking Randy Brown by knockout over Gabriel Bonfim. I think it's going to be a flash knockdown where Gabriel maybe kind of has a lazy entry into trying to get close to a clinch to Randy Brown. Maybe he just kind of throws his hands in the air, kind of like Charles did against Ilya, get cracked with a shot down the middle. Maybe his knees kind of give out, and then Randy goes for a finish, and we see Randy Brown enter the top 15. Goddamn, another one. But yeah, I think Randy Brown's got the skills to knock out Gabriel Bonfim. I think he's got decent takedown defense. He's got good jiu-jitsu. He can reverse positions as well. I like Randy Brown against Gabriel Bonfim. I like him a lot. So I'll go Randy Brown over Gabriel Bonfim. Lock it in. I'm UFC Thoughts. These have been my picks and breakdown for every fight on UFC Vegas 111, Bonfim versus Brown on November 8th, 2025. My confident picks reside with Denise Gomes, Hyder Amil, and the co-main event, Joseph Morales. My pre-card rating for this card is a 6.5 out of 10. Main event is a terrible main event, but it's a good fight. It's a trash main event. Doesn't deserve to be 5 rounds, but that's beside the point. This card overall actually does have some pretty solid fights on it, even though, you know, Yanez got removed from it. It's still got some decent fights on here. Simón, Barcelos, Amil, Emmers, CLD, Marco Tulio, Muslim Salikhov, Uroš Medić is going to be a finish. The main event probably will end in a finish, so that's something to look forward to. I think this card has a lot of finish potential littered throughout it, so I think it's going to be an entertaining watch. Just kind of taken aback because it's in the Apex and no one really gives a shit. I'm sorry, this is coming out on Thursday. Wednesday, pretty shitty day for me. But, you know, it's life. Shit happens. But, yeah, that's the video. If you like the video, give it a like. If you want more content like this, subscribe. Leave a comment down below what you guys want to see next. Do you guys agree with my picks? Who are you picking in the main event of Bonfim versus Brown? I will see you guys after the fights. Peace.